You're not burning out because you're weak. I want to be very clear about that. And you know it too. You're like, something's not working. Something doesn't feel right, but I don't know what it is. And you know that you're not weak. You can handle it. No biggie. You're burning out because you're excellent at tolerating the intolerable. In fact, you built a career on solving problems that no one else can see. And because you do that so well, no one sees that you're drowning. I'm Sophia, and I help driven women climb in corporate without the cost of burnout. And I want to break out for you why high performers burn out faster than everyone else. And I want to show you, identify just a few things that can help you break that cycle. Two quick things: high performer trap, right? You fix everything so efficiently that leadership, it stops recognizing the dysfunction, right? So like people on your team or even your peers, they come to you with all these great ideas and you just begin to ask questions and poke holes. Like, I hear what you're saying, but did you consider A? Did you consider B? Oh, also, we did this a few years back. This looks similar to that. You may want to research it, right? So it's like you are identifying the dysfunction before anyone has a chance to even see it. And because you are fixing it, they see it just as competence. They're like, yeah, the team runs so smoothly. Yeah, no one realized that Sophia actually helped Bill, poke holes in his theory or helped Steven realize that, that scenario had some blind spots that we needed to correct before we brought it to senior leadership. And that brings me to the second one. It's the invisible leadership tax, right? You're doing your job and the emotional labor that it takes to keep the team afloat. So someone puts together a deck or a slide, and you know what? It's not up to par. It isn't up to speed. There's so many gaps, and it isn't aesthetically the way that the team operates. You pull them aside, you talk to them with confidence, with grace. You even, give them a little validation along the way just to help them because you know that the team has to be a cohesive unit to move forward. Right. But all of that takes labor. All of that takes time. It takes a clear head. And let's not talk about the time it takes to do that because that time is taken away from the hours that you need to do your job efficiently within the 40 hours that they're paying you to do things. Research is showing that women, especially women of color, I mean, we carry more non-promotable tasks than anyone else. Yeah, you see it, but what does that mean? It means that you are leading and cleaning up after others without any recognition. And this happened to me. I once led three departments doing a restructure. My company had the brilliant idea to continue, not my company, the company I work for. See, the way that I'm labeling things, I want you to look at the way that we're talking about things because that's how you frame it in your mind. The company that I work for decided to grow 3x in 24 months. So that means that we needed to break apart processes and put them back together. So I was working with three different departments to make sure that the process that we all worked together on flowed very smoothly, like seamlessly. And we did well. We survived the merger. There were no drop balls, right? All of our deliverables were met timely. And what did I get from leadership? Sophia, you're so capable. The team did so great. Yeah, but capability, that became a cage. So that way, when the next merger came, they expected someone to do the same thing because there were no issues before. And also, I wasn't raising my hand because I didn't want to be seen as difficult to say, hey, I'm actually burning out. I was able to work or streamline with these teams before, but that actually isn't sustainable. Like resilience is healthy adaptation, yes, but tolerance, because you're tolerating so much, you're ignoring your own personal limits until you break. So, what do you do with this information? I want you to list three things that you're managing that aren't technically your job. And yeah, let's name them. Is that, like coordinating cross-functional team meetings? Uh, After the meeting, after the main meeting, you're coordinating separate meetings with other teams just to make sure the whole project can move forward. Let's write that down. Are you coordinating? I've talked about this before, but sometimes we're doing things behind the scenes, like we're coordinating happy hours, or even happy hours are like little birthday parties for the team just to keep the momentum going. Or are you meticulously editing the entire deck before you give it to senior leadership because you want it to be flawless? Yeah, you're managing things that aren't technically your job. And in fact, if you kind of resonate with this and you're like, you know what, that's hitting me, there's another video that I did that I want you to check out. It's called the five worst jobs or worst jobs in corporate. Check out that link here because that can open your eyes to other things that you're doing that aren't technically yours to handle. I want you to think, what would happen if I stopped compensating for a broken system? Right? What would happen? The system would break. Leadership would hire another headcount, or maybe the whole project would become sunsetted, or they would just stop this project or process because they realize that the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. Look, you don't need to be more resilient, more tough. You don't need to tough it out more. You do need to identify what you're tolerating, what dysfunction is disguised as leadership, so that way we can pivot differently. What are we going to do? We're going to bring this up in our one-on-ones, but we can't bring it up until we can identify it. And then once we can identify it, then we can move differently and lead ourselves differently. This isn't about doing more. It's about leading yourself so powerfully that everything else around you shifts. That's self-leadership. We're not talking about self-care. We're talking about leadership, self-leadership, because that is what's going to get you from this role to the next role without being overtaxed and overburdened and doing way too much. I want you to join my masterclass. But before you do that, I'm going to put the information in the notes here. I want you to subscribe to this channel because the more we talk about these things, the more we help each other. That's right. Our community looks different these days, right? It's not necessarily your coworker or your neighbor, the person who lives the apartment next door. It is having these conversations so that way they can continue to bring an awareness to what we're all suffering through alone. That's not your story. We're not going to have it. What we are going to have is we're going to lead ourselves differently so that way this conversation can continue.